Hi, my name is Anneliese. I'm an urban planning student at the University of Waterloo, and on this week's of 16 weeks of internships, I'll be taking you along with me as I work as a software developer intern at Shareworks by Morgan Stanley, remotely from Vancouver. Good morning. I wake up anytime between 7:15 and 7:55. I usually like to start my day off with a cup of warm water or tea, and I use this time to check social media and personal emails as well as get ready for the day. Now it's time to start work. Because Shareworks is located in Calgary while I'm in Vancouver, they're 1 hour ahead of me. I like to be at my desk by 8 because their core working hours are between 9 and 2 p.m. This works out really well for me too because then I end my day at 4 p.m. and I have more of the daylight to explore the city. Shareworks itself is a software as a service product that helps companies deal out equity and stock options to their employees. It was actually founded in Calgary, which is super exciting, and it was acquired by Morgan Stanley. Shareworks now falls under the wealth management pillar of Morgan Stanley, and specifically Morgan Stanley at Work. I'm only waiting for my meeting to start, and for breakfast today, I'm having a pan au chocolat, which is exciting. It really depends on the day to day, but today I had a number of meetings. While waiting for those meetings, I was working on updating a pull request to reflect the comments that my team had left me. During the lunch break, Morgan Stanley had organized a Mapathon volunteer workshop. We're learning to map remote areas of the world that's kind of been forgotten, and this is part of Morgan Stanley's Giving Back Month. So I did all of this. After lunch, I continued working on my pull request and attending meetings. I had 5 meetings overall today. In the morning, I had an architecture meeting with the entire engineering team, which was about 200 to 300 people. Next was a meeting with all the teams under tax, which was the team I'm on, that are working on a project together. The project is expected to launch at the end of my internship, so this will be a large focus during my time here. Last meeting of the morning was a quick stand-up. Stand-up is a meeting you have with your team where you update everyone with what you worked on yesterday, what you're working on today, and any blockers that you might have, and it's a way to keep everyone in sync with each other. In the afternoon, there was a town hall styled Ask Me Anything within the product department. Product includes all QAs, product managers, dev, and design. This is a monthly occurring meeting that is an opportunity to allow for open communication within the entire product team about any general concerns or questions they might have. I really like that Shareworks is still able to retain that culture of working in a smaller/mid-sized company, but that has all the resources and access that comes with working at a larger firm such as Morgan Stanley. Finally, my last meeting of the day was a storytime estimate meeting. This is where we estimate our tasks and stories by assigning them a number, and then we use this number to pull in an appropriate amount of workload for the sprint. For the rest of the day, I spent a good portion of my time waiting for my build to run and checking changes. My build's still running. Okay, now it's indexing. Whatever. While I'm waiting for that checkout to run, I'll talk about why did you decide to intern at Shareworks. My interview with Shareworks was probably my favorite one out of this recruitment cycle. The interviewers made me feel really comfortable and at ease, and it made me feel like this would be a really good environment for me to learn and be comfortable asking questions. They also mentioned a 4 weeks onboarding process, and this includes interns as well, 4-month interns. And while this might seem like a lot, it showed that they had the resources to support the development and growth of an intern. I am again waiting for something to run. In the meantime, I'll answer the question, how did you find this internship? For this specific internship, I applied through my school's internal job board. So that opened up in January, and I just followed the recruitment process through there. But I had also started applying for jobs in December through LinkedIn and external job boards. December is almost considered a little bit late. Like, jobs come out as early as late August and early September, and they fill up pretty quickly as well. But one thing that really helped me for my last recruitment cycle was applying early. By early, I mean that I applied within 24 to 48 hours from when the job posting first came up. Because the posting is newer and fresher, there's not as many applicants, and they're still trying to figure out the bar of applicants that they're hiring for, so you're more likely to get a call back and for your resume to be seen. That's taken a long time, so I guess I'll answer what program are you in and what school do you go to? I'm an urban planning major at the University of Waterloo, but I'm currently in the process of transferring. So this fall, I'll become a computer science major, and I'll be taking courses that are equivalent to a second-year computer science student. Before I decided to transfer, I had also recently declared a joint honors in math. So I was already taking quite a few math courses, and I had also taken a little bit of computer science courses as well. What skills and experience helped you get the internship? I went into this internship with 3 other internships, and 2 of them were internships in software development. It's really true that getting experience becomes a lot easier once you already have experience, but I had also taken 3 computer science courses before coming in. At the time I was interviewing for this job, I was pretty early in my 3rd computer science course, so I had really only learned about functional programming and imperative program and a little tiny bit about object-oriented programming, but we haven't really gotten there yet. I also started doing legal questions this recruitment cycle as well. I had asked a friend who was a little bit more experienced in computer science if she could sit down with me every week and go through a couple questions, and we did this with a group of other people. In return, I would buy her bubble tea, and it really worked out in my favor because it helped me learn to communicate my code thinking process, and she was there to guide us along in the right direction and give us hints about how to solve problems. For my first internship, I was taking a course called functional programming. It wasn't really applicable to industry because they were teaching us a language that was made just for teaching, but it really helped in shifting my mindset and teaching me how to begin looking at computer science problems. One thing I did was go through a code academy. I learned HTML and CSS, and I also learned Bootstrap to make the website responsive. So when the interviewer asked if I made anything responsive before, I could say yes, and I knew what that meant. I think what helped me in getting my first internship was me writing a cover letter. It wasn't a great cover letter by any means. I wrote it really quickly because I was near the deadline to apply, but through the cover letter, I was able to express my genuine interest in exploring different paths and why I think computer science might be the right one for me. Since then, some other resources I've used again is Code Academy, YouTube tutorials, and mass open online courseware. One course I was close to finishing was CS50X. I really liked it. It's offered through EDX and it teaches you C. I also started getting involved around the school, particularly in tech communities. So again, this didn't really give me any hard skills per se, but really helped me in teaching me more about the tech industry and being able to ask other students and talk with other students about their experience. And I also think that having those on my resume made it more apparent that I was really interested in getting into software, and I was taking the initiative to find these opportunities, even though I was coming from an urban planning major. My bill was finally successful and I ran all the pre-merge checks, so I'm gonna log off for the day. Why did you decide to pivot into software from urban planning? I had to start applying for internships, and I knew I didn't want to be a registered professional planner, which is the pathway that my program is catered to. I knew I liked my CS class that I was taking that semester, so I thought, why not just try my luck? That if I did manage to secure a software role and I didn't end up liking it, I could always apply these skills elsewhere. Even as an intern, there's that opportunity for you to take ownerships of projects, and you're encouraged to do so. I also knew that I didn't need to do a degree change. Like, it would be hard to get a job because I still need to have the skill and I would have to learn them myself. But I don't need a stamp of approval from a board or a certain degree or to sit an exam to be able to get the job. Of course, part of this reason for the low barrier is the job market. There's a demand for software engineers, so I knew that even though it might be hard, putting in the work would yield a good return on investment of my time, and if I ever did leave the tech industry, I could apply these skills elsewhere. Currently taking an English class, and I've been putting it off this week, so here I am doing it. In the evening, I rode my bike to the pool to swim some laps. Vancouver makes it super easy to be active and outdoors. It has really great public spaces, trails, and an extensive biking infrastructure. And there's also really unique offerings at the community center, like woodworking and pottery. And I even got a library card here. I'm definitely trying to make the most of it while I can. Before I sign off, I wanted to share some final thoughts with you, especially those who might want to pivot as well. The tech industry is really competitive, but there are so many people out there who made the switch before and will do it again. It was a pretty difficult process for me and at times really frustrating as I try to get my foot in the door, but learning any specialized skill from the ground up will be difficult. Even after my initial internship, I was still pretty hesitant about making the full switch, partly due to the sunk cost fallacy and partly due to imposter syndrome. And it's been a little rough, but I think it probably would have been much more difficult in the long run had I just stayed put where I was and didn't at the very least try. Starting out was probably the hardest part. It has become so much easier to navigate this industry, and applying, interviewing, and getting rejected all becomes much easier the more you do it. Some things just require repetition and experience. Luck also played a huge role in my journey. I don't say this to negate the hard work that I had to put in, but to emphasize the importance of continuing to work hard and putting yourself outside your comfort zone so that when your lucky chance does come, you'll be prepared for it. Finally, the tech industry is really glamorized and it can be pretty easy to compare yourself to other people's perceived success. But continue to carve out your own path that aligns with your own definition of success. The most valuable lesson I've learned throughout this entire process is how much more capable and resilient I am than I initially gave myself credit for. Alright, that's it. Thank you so much for sticking around and letting me share with you. I wish you all the best in your journey as well. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the 16 Weeks channel. Comment down below letting us know what else you'd like to see on our channel. You can also follow 16 Weeks on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn to learn more tips related to professional development and career growth. We look forward to seeing you next week in this series of 16 Weeks of Internship to learn about Russell's internship at Pencil's Learning Technology.